Hey, what's going on, everybody? How you doing today? This is Solana we're looking at, and what is happening with Solana? Well, I see potentially two ideas playing out with Solana. So basically, let's just start from the beginning to see, what is Solana, what is it doing, and where is she going? Well, obviously, right off the bat, you see a monster wave to the upside. And this wave can be broken up into five waves, which we like to see. One, two, three, four, five, right? So five waves to the upside. And depending if you know Elliott wave or not, what that means is you have one, two, three, four, five, and typically you have an A, B, C correction, followed by another one, two, three, four, five, A, B, C correction, one, two, three, four, five, until you get to five, right? So there are subwaves within subwaves, and basically Elliott wave is a way to basically determine when the trend is ending, if it's getting exhausted, and things like that. So we see this monster move to the upside. I mean, look at this. This thing was at like 20 cents and it shot all the way up to $200. I did not get to enjoy that. I did not get to participate in Solana. I was one of those who totally missed the train. I still don't own any Solana at the moment, probably because I just felt like it maybe could be too overvalued, but I could be totally wrong, and this thing can be way undervalued. So we're gonna talk about that. Most of my positions are spread out through other coins, and that's the thing. When you're an investor into crypto, you don't have to own every single coin to be a winner. Maybe Solana is going to be the biggest winner of them all, and I'm an idiot for not holding it. That could be very well the case. So anyway, we have this wave to the upside, and then we see this corrective wave to the downside. So what I'm thinking is, number one, this is one, two, and now we're going into wave three. That's one way to look at it. Another way to look at it is this is one, and then this is an A, B. We're going into the B wave, and then going down into C, coming back down into here, and retesting or back testing this area here before the monster bull run that Solana deserves, right? So we could see something crazy like that. And that is sort of what I think could potentially be happening. And the reason I say that is because we've had five waves to the downside. For example, so if Solana did this, right? Let's say it came here, it went up, and then it came down. I would look at that as an A, B, C, and I'm like, okay, now we're ready to rock and roll. Let's go to the upside. But instead, what it did was it moved in five waves. So we have one, two, three, four, five. So that's five waves, and that's wave A, right? And now we see this move to the upside. One, two, and it looks like we're heading up into three. So that would be wave B. And then what comes next? Obviously C, which is another five waves. One, two, three, four, five, right? And that would be wave C. And this whole thing would be one, two, three, four, five. One, two, and then go up for three. So that's one way you can look at it, and do I want that to happen? Well, I really don't, because that would mean the rest of the crypto market would be coming up into some devastation. But at the end of the day, we got to be conservative. We got to be on our tippy toes, because 1 minute crypto can be bullish, the next minute it could be a total devastation, right? So we have to have an open mind. Things are exciting at the moment, and sometimes when things get too exciting, it makes me nervous, because then things could be turning around fairly short. When things are going down, I'm not that nervous at all. I'm actually excited because then it's like, well, we should be turning around soon. Good buying opportunities. But when things start to accelerate to the upside, it makes me think, something could happen right around the corner. And I don't say, tomorrow or next week or anything like that, but we just have to wait and see. But basically, those are the two options. Um, this could be, like I said, wave one, and this was wave two, and now we're working on wave three. And that could very well be the case. Um, the reason why I'm sort of leaning towards this is because Bitcoin. I don't think Bitcoin has what it takes to break into a new all-time high, but I'm more than happy to be proven wrong. That's just my opinion. Remember, this is not financial advice. Solana can go to $1 million or it can go to $0. I have no idea what it's going to do. I'm just looking at the data and trying to interpret it the best way I can. So we don't really know what it's going to do. We can just offer, probabilities. And to me, the probabilities, when you look at the dollar, when you look at the stock market, when you look at the current state of the economy, when you look at all those variables, it makes you want to think. It makes you think like, yeah, this is what's going to happen. But oftentimes, if everybody's thinking, everything's in the dumps, the stock market's going to crash, blah, 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 then oftentimes it reverses and it goes to the upside. So it's really hard to figure it out. But one thing is for sure. Either number one, we are in a retracement, which is we're retracing this move. Or number two, we're going to continue going higher, right? But either way, we're expecting some upside. We want to see some bullish movement. We want to see, because if this is a B wave, then we still have more gas in the tank to get us going a lot higher, right? If this is the start of the new bull run, then we need to get through the retracements. So it doesn't matter which way occurs because we're not at that moment yet. So if I take a Fibonacci tool and I put it from here all the way down here, we want to get past this area right in here. So if we can get above the 618, the 702, and the 786, if we get above this area, then yeah, we can see a beautiful continuation of the bull run. So if I'm holding a bunch of Solana, do I want to sell it and buy back lower? Well, for me, I'm a hodler. I don't like to do that. 90% of what I do is hodl, 10% is trade, but the 10% of trade has to be an A plus setup. So I'm not going to be, trying to gamble and see, for the possibility that we're going to break to the upside. So basically, what we want to see first is just take it day by day, week by week, right? So we have this initial move to the upside, followed by three-way pullback. So what I like to see, what I see here is a 1 2 1 2, and 1 2 1 2s are incredibly bullish. By the way, I can't stress that enough. When you see a 1 2 1 2, that is incredibly bullish. That means we're going to get a 1 2 1 2 3 4 5 4 5 at the very least, right? So when we get to this area, I'm not saying that's going to happen. We're not going to get all the way up to that area. This wave might be done right now, but I don't think so. So if we get back up to this area, then that begs the question, like, let's say you hold $10,000 worth of Solana. What do you do when you get to here, right? If you, sell it, it can come and just continue going higher. If you just keep holding it, it can sort of continue going down. So you have to have a plan what you want to do. For me, I like to take a little bit off the top just to, reduce my risk a little bit. But most of what I do, like I said, is just hodl. So basically, if we can clear, between 140 and 200, I think we're in pretty good shape. So that's looking at the linear scale. Now, if I look at the log scale, so this is the log scale Fibonacci, and what you can see is we just hit the golden pocket ratio, which is the 50% line. So basically, would I be buying Solana right now? No way. It was one of the big movers, so I'm not going to be buying it. This is the golden pocket right in here, and we just tagged it. So, that's typically where things start to get a little choppy and maybe even reversal. So this is the log scale look at the Fibonacci, and what we can see is potentially a 50% to a 618. So typically, if it is a B wave, if you look at Google, it retraces, I think it's 38% up to 79%. And you say, well, that's a big range. That could, land anywhere. And yeah, that's true. But in order to get an accurate look, what we're going to do is we're going to go into the smaller time frame and take a look. But first, if I was holding Solana or if I was trading it, I would probably start taking some profits around the 618, maybe around $70, and then determine, because like I said, we looked at it in linear scale. This is log scale. Log scale on a retracement is more conservative. So I like to be more conservative. So we'll see if that happens. So basically, we have, like I said before, we have this 1 2 1 2, and if we get up into this third wave, we don't know when the third wave is going to end. I think we're in the middle of the third wave. So let's try to figure out where this third wave can end. So I'm going to take everything off the screen. So now that you guys understand that, let's go down to let's go to the 2-day chart. And I'm going to put a line right there. So right off the bat, I mean, what do we see? Well, it obviously is incredibly bullish, right? Because we have this resistance, right? This is the resistance. And what I like to see is price cupping into the resistance. And what do I mean by that? Basically knocking on the door. You're cupping into the resistance, cupping into the resistance, cupping into the resistance. And then eventually, boom, you break out. And what is that? Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. Knocking on the door, knocking on the door, knocking on the door. And what is that? Does anybody know? That, my friends, is a classic pattern. It's an inverse head and shoulders pattern. So we have our left shoulder, we have our head, and we have our right shoulder. And then more importantly, we have this massive impulse to the bottom. So we have this, if you look at the RSI, we have some also some divergence from this wave to this wave, which basically said, hey, we're looking at a bottom here pretty soon. So we had this massive impulse. We had this three-way pullback. So then common sense is like, okay, we have this big up move. We have this three-way pullback. So now let's continue rocking and rolling. But what happened was instead of a three-way pullback, we just came up into the resistance. We got stopped again, right? And then also you see this cup and handle pattern. So basically that's what we're seeing here. So if I take a measurement tool and I try to figure out where is this wave going to end, I'm going to take it all the way up to about here. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it right there. So we're getting close. We are getting pretty close to the target here, $51. So we actually hit 47. So I would say that's close enough. So I mean, I would be perhaps taking some profit. And the other reason why is because, let's zoom in even further. And like I said, I could be totally wrong. Don't listen to me. Don't ever do anything based off what I say, because I could be totally wrong, and you could end up regretting it later. Um, but if you're trading, I'd probably take some profit. I mean, you could see. I mean, just pay attention to the RSI and things like that. So, um, so basically, what I'm also going to do is I'm going to take everything off the screen, and we're just going to look at this wave here. And just looking at this wave, I mean, you could see another 1, 2, 1, 2. That's 3, 4, 5. Maybe we get another 4, 5, and then maybe another hit to the high, and that would complete that measured move we just did with the inverse head and shoulders. So it's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty bullish. I mean, this thing can also just continue pumping. It can get over exuberant, and it can start, really getting parabolic. So we just have to wait and see. But let me zoom out a little bit, and let's see if we can find anything else that's telling the story. So what I would like to do is I take a Fibonacci extension, and I take it right here, and I will pull it up to this wave here, and then I'm going to pull it all the way down to that swing low. And what do we see? We see the 1-to-1 extension getting hit pretty nicely, which is $43. So typically, when you pull a trend-based fib extension from the height of the wave to the bottom of the wave, a lot of traders end up taking profit at the 1-to-1 extension, and that's what we see. So if we start to clear that extension, then we want to start looking at even higher prices. And for me, I think one of the best targets to look for is the 1618, which and the 1414, between $63 and $77, $76.88 to be exact. So basically, let me take that off the screen now. So basically, that's it. So if I had to make a conclusion to everything I just said, I would say watch that level. If we can break that level, then I would be much more optimistic that this thing is over and we're going into a bull run. But to be even more optimistic, I really want to see the 702 get tagged, which is right here at the top of this, and even better, the 786. So between here and between here. So I think, let me take that off. So the green box to me would be a great target from that extension. And then for the retracement aspect, those two black lines. So if we can clear those two black lines, I would be more than willing to just continue to hold Solana. So yeah, it looks pretty good. So like I said before, is this a monster wave one, and now we're in wave two, and we're going to continue marching to the upside? Or is this a monster wave to the upside? We have this down move, right? This A, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A. And then you see 1, 2, and now we're probably in 3, which is B. And then we're going to continue going down into wave C, and then get that big move to the upside. That could very well be the case. Let me zoom out a little bit more here, 4-day chart. So, look out for that. And that's the biggest thing is trying to figure out, is this a B wave or are we in a much higher wave? Right now it looks 3 wave-ish, which means it's like we have a 1, 2, 3. If I start to see a pullback, and then, so basically this is what I would do. So if we pull back, right, and we back test the breakout zone, and then we pull back up, if we get resisted right here, then yeah, I would probably start to exit a lot of the position. If we complete and we make it above there and then pull back, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And a 5 wave move is what? Is trend. It's not a correction, right? 3 waves is a correction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves is start of the new trend. So that could be wave one, and then we're coming down for wave two, and then we go up for wave three, right? So, and then 4, 5, right? So a lot of things can happen. It looks a little overextended at the moment, but like I said, this is crypto. One day it looks like, oh, it needs to top, and the next day it's up another 20%. And then it's like, okay, now we just got to wait. And then the next day it's up another 20%, right? So, anything can happen with crypto. So we just got to tread lightly and be very cautious of everything.